Show number 19, out in the wild yet again, and no Donnie.
No Donnie.
It's unfortunate, but he's got life, as a lot of busy grandpas do with the kids and everything, and so he's busy doing all that stuff. And what I got behind us here is a unique bike that you don't see us riding very often. It's an XR150L, and this is kind of a cool bike. Spencer's been riding this a bunch. What do you think of it?
I love it. It's a lot of fun.
So it's a fun bike. The only thing we've done to this thing is Race Tech did the suspension, put some stiffer springs on it. You don't even have to do that. But these bikes are really inexpensive. Stock is $3,100 plus tax and fees and junk. So pretty inexpensive bike. And this is a good way to get out. And it's using the, up here where we're at, we're not doing real dual sporting and real riding. So riding around town, this thing's awesome on little light dirt roads.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Pretty fun little bike. I'm really liking it. It's pretty cool. So it is still carbureted. That's why I think it's so cheap. It's still the older carbureted motor. It's plenty fast enough for around town, even carrying 2 people.
Yep.
But it's not like you wouldn't want to go on anything crazy with it. It is a bit bulky and wide and heavy.
Yep.
But it's still really, but it's really cool for the price. So on anything like this, you want to keep the gas off when you're not using it, and make sure you drain that tank if it's going to sit for more than a week, so you don't mess up that carburetor. I do have an email for you to look up on your phone while we're at it. Okay. I just sent you one a little while ago. I forgot to tell him that when we were preparing. I got an email today, a few minutes before the show, that and Spencer's, he's totally unprepared for this thing but we talk about this situation all the time, and especially in areas like up in Utah and Colorado and different places, Wyoming and stuff, we run into this situation a lot. And so he has a good thing. He's gonna look it up, and I'll have him read it. It's really cool. So this week, not Supercross, Nationals just ended, which was really cool. Really fun Nationals ending. We had Chase Sexton won, just really on fire. The last Nationals, I know Jet wasn't there. A lot of people say yeah. So we have a lot of cheerleaders for Jet, even here.
Yeah.
Okay. But did you find it?
Yeah, you sent to my iCloud one.
Oh,
it's the bike build series.
No, it's about the 450s. He's trail.
That's the subject. Is bike build series.
Okay. Oh yes, that's him.
Okay,
that's him. Don't say his last name in case he gets mad at us.
Okay.
Okay. So the series just ended, and Deegan looked amazing. Outdoor 250 class was always different, man. Every moto was rad. It wasn't fun to watch.
It was good.
The last race in Ironman, the first moto, Spencer's like, somebody can jump from there to there. He thought the 450s would do it.
Wasn't 450s.
Nope.
Only one dude.
Deegan did it.
Yeah.
And he did it like four or so times in the second moto. He waited the second moto to bust it out. I don't know if he did it in the first, they didn't catch it.
Yeah, he might have been looking at it in practice and then just finally got the...
So cool.
Yep.
Maybe you could paste in a little clip of it. or a photo of it?
I could probably do I could probably find a photo.
See what you can find. Anyway, so we got a great location here up in the mountains, and again, it's been cool, and now today it's warming up. It's gonna be plenty warm today. So we have some cool things. Let's read this one first. I'm gonna have Spencer read this one, and I'm gonna talk about this one first.
Okay.
And go from there.
Hello, Jay. This is from Eric. I'm not gonna say his last name. I know you're probably busy with your CR builds right now, but I've got a build idea I'm hoping you might do. My idea is to do an older 450 MX trail build. I'm talking mid-2000s build, 06 to 09. No electric start, no fuel injection. Will be pretty decent having ideas to get away from stalling or overheating. And without a reclaimer for a battery, installing a fan would have its limitations to get it done. I realize a 450 isn't a great trail bike, but I've noticed most people that have one don't track ride, and trying to get to the trails with one. I really noticed this in my recent trail ride up in Ben Lomond Peak in northern Utah. So many 450s trying to trail ride. I've got an 07 YZF 450 myself. I've been tinkering with an auto clutch. It's such a big bike that it doesn't like low speed. Regardless, it'd be a fun series you could build.
Okay, so
enjoy the videos.
So first of all, the Recluse auto clutch would help.
Yes.
Secondly, have you heard of that area in Utah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I've
ridden there.
Okay, you have. Okay. So,
but Utah's the place where you run into this that he's talking about all the time.
So we run into this. Okay, so we've talked about this a lot, and there's a lot of X motocross bikes that end up on the trails, and that's because of a couple things. And this is 250 and 450, is that they're cheap. So guys can buy a 250F for anywhere from $2 to $4 grand, and they can buy a 450 for $3 to $5 grand for that range, right? And so that's all they think of, and they're out there with no kickstand, no handguards, small tank, not an 18-inch rear wheel, so they're limited on tire sizes. All those things I said right there alone are tough. Then the fact that it's an older four-stroke, they're very difficult to have run cool, as he mentioned.
Yep.
The money that we would put into the bike to build a project bike out of it, first of all, we've already done this.
Yes.
We've already done this a few times over the years. We tried to, and we even did it with fuel injected, like bikes with kickstands. And even those were tough.
We made an RX before the RX was a thing.
Correct.
There's a magazine article to prove that.
So to answer this guy's question the answer is just don't do it.
No.
Just don't do it. So, and it might not be what you want to hear, but I want to tell you the truth. I'm a Dream Crusher alert. And so what I suggest you do is sell the 450 if you don't want to be trail riding.
Get a little bit for it.
And you should be able to buy a YZ250 or a YZ250X.
Yep.
That's still kickstart. It's still not ideal for trail riding, but way better. And durability-wise, long-term, if something goes wrong with that YZ250, it's way easy to fix. If something goes wrong with that CRF 450, you're just parting it out. Because you're not going to spend the $3 to $4 grand to repair the engine, so it's not worth it.
And aftermarket parts that are available for those YZs and for those two-strokes.
It's huge.
If you want to like put an aftermarket stator, for example, right? If you want to run a headlight or you want to put an aftermarket stator, that's available, right? There's not available for those old 450s. And
there's a lot more parts for the Honda 450 out. I mean, for the YZ,
for the YZ
250s out there.
Yeah.
So I see these guys buy these older 4-strokes, and I just think it's a mistake on the trail riding. Just don't do it. Just move on to a 2-stroke. You'll be much happier. Now, if you're going to ride track and trail, that's a little different. And then or if you're riding desert and stuff, the 4-stroke can get away with it. So that's where I'm at on that. So I'm sorry, buddy. Hopefully, something else comes out of that. Better. Okay. So now, and then I'm going to read. I got a couple others here to read comments first. Okay. Derek L from Denton, Texas says, "Hi Jay, your YouTube channel's the best. For years of experience, common sense, way to do things are great. Please send me the tire stand drawings." Remember to always do that, right? The tire stand drawings?
Yep.
All right, let's have you read the next one. I'm going to have to shed my vest. This one's popping out.
Corey A says, "Hi, Jay. I was just watching the latest episode of That Moto Show, and I have some info that might help out other fellow riders. I have a 2019 Honda CRF 450L. She's my baby. I went to change the oil a few months ago, and when I went to remove the drain bolt, this happened. I actually felt it pop. Like, it felt like I got kicked in the balls and I wanted to throw up. Apparently, this can happen due to thermal expansion from the two metals. It's a very common issue with Honda after a very expensive $2,200 rebuild and a new left side case. She's better than ever. Just wanted to let everyone know about this. Honda's BS plug is garbage. Takamoto makes an awesome one. Aluminum plug to replace it. I wish I knew of it beforehand. Also a bit of anti-seize on the plug before reinstalling. Hope this helps someone save them a headache and some money. Love the channel."
So for sure, and we brought this question up a little while ago on a CRF 250, which is a different size Allen bolt head. And one of the problems with that big Honda 450 one, which you've done a bunch, and knock on wood, you haven't had any problem yet, right? And when you get that thing in there, there's so few threads. There's only like 3 or 4 threads in the case.
That's it.
So if you're off at all, you want to make sure you're straight. And I would have the Allen wrench on it, not on a ratchet or extension, on it, and to go backwards a hair till you feel it click in, and then turn it to make sure you're fully engaged before you're going straight.
I start by hand.
Yes. Oh, just strictly by hand.
I do it by hand. Because
all the way down.
Because you should be able to do it all the way by hand.
And I have photos of the. Did you see the Takamoto one I sent you photos of?
Yes.
It's at the house. So we can put photos of that one in here right now. It has a magnetic little thing inside as well to pick up any pieces, which is nice. So yes, I agree. And unfortunately, this is a tough reality of the way this goes. So
yeah,
I did leave our CD in the truck.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's in the door. Okay, so driver's door. Okay, now Ali M, he bought a brand new 25 TC300, so brand new bike. And Ali, it's only got 0.4 hours on it. He's filled it up with the proper air pressure, the forks, and then the front end collapses. Boom, all the way down. And he's tried a few times. His dealer is not being very helpful. And so I talked to Dave Schmidt, who was actually on this show a couple shows back. And he says the air piston seals are bad. If seen it, he said he's seen it a bunch of times, even on brand new bikes without riding. And he says that the dealer should fix it or replace the fork leg, in his opinion. The air piston's like $60 plus labor to fix this. So if your dealer won't fix it, you can get it fixed on your own, but you shouldn't have to. That's unfortunate on a brand new bike like that. But that is an unfortunate downside of air forks, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, spring forks don't just fall down.
They do not.
Magically, so.
It's impossible.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy writes us, he's on a show all the time, but he writes great questions. Who is it?
Squire, AG
Yeah,
Squire.
yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
job.
yeah.
But he writes really good questions. And so he has really good questions that come up. And I think a lot of people wonder about that. He just got his Power Core 4 muffler from FMF, which he'd been waiting on for months, by the way, because it was an 08 Honda 450.
Yeah.
And I got one too for that dirt bike build.
Yeah.
So it was on back order for a long time. And a lot of people ask about that, why they don't have pipes to these older bikes, is they don't sell a ton of them. So they only make a run maybe once a year or whatever it is, and can get them out there. And he says, when we put his slip-on on, do I install it metal to metal, or do I put sealant in there? So like on a 2-stroke, a lot of times guys will put sealant in there. On the 4-stroke, you don't need to do that.
No.
Just slip fit, it's totally fine.
Yep.
And also he asked about the clamp. You don't use the clamp, the stock clamp.
Yep.
That'll stay with your stock muffler.
Yep.
Keep that with your stock muffler. You don't need to do that. So, okay. All right, you read this.
Okay.
Jamie?
Joshua.
Nice.
Put your glasses back on.
Right.
Joshua C. My father-in-law is a pre-mod rider. He has an 03 Honda CR250R he bought new. The servo gets stripped. Finding replacements are very difficult. I was wondering if you knew of a company that makes replacements, or of another option than buying the $400 servo off eBay, hoping the gears are intact.
So, unfortunately, 20-plus-year-old 2-strokes.
Yeah.
It's really tough to find parts now. Honda stopped making some of these parts, and no one aftermarket's going to make this thing because of a few reasons. It's just they're not going to sell enough to justify making an expensive deal. Even those cables that run the servo, which we have some pictures of, we can throw up right now. And I actually found a good used one for him for 100 and something bucks, 100 on eBay.
Yeah.
So he was stoked about that. But it's probably, even when he puts it on, he knows he's on borrowed time.
Yes.
So I said, put it on, put those new cables on because they're on back order, and then sell it. Make
Sell
sure
it.
it's running good, sell it, and buy something more modern. But if he's anything like most father-in-laws, he's probably too stubborn to do it. So he's going to keep on that old 2-stroke, right? What would you guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've ridden a bike like that before. You built one a long time ago, and that thing felt weird.
They're good bikes, but the electronic power valve
was weird a little bit.
Those motors were kind of lacking on power because it was like a slow roll. And now there's a power valve, electronic power valve on the new KTMs.
Yep.
But they're all controlled not by those cables. So there's not all the lag.
Yep.
Because the new KTMs are plenty fast.
Oh yeah.
So
That,
all right,
that 300. Yeah.
let's go with the next question.
All right. E&W. Hey Jay, on that 350 build you guys did, what did you make the swing arm black with?
Oh, that was paint from San Diego Powder Coating in Southern California. Did that El Cajon.
Very nice. Caleb M. Hey man, reaching out to see if you'd be interested in doing a makeover on my bike. Your work was a work of art. His bike is a 2002 Yamaha WR426.
426.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, Dream Crusher, but first of all, we don't do any outside work. Okay. For anybody else, we can barely keep up with what we have. We heard about all the CR builds, and then I have a few more bikes in the mix that are coming, that older 2-strokes especially. I don't really like the idea of doing a build on an older 4-stroke because it's just the value's not going to be there.
No.
So you're going to lose too much money. And if you're just doing it for sentimental reasons,
Yeah.
and you want to have that old bike, that's one thing. But otherwise, it's just not worth it.
Oh.
So I would say,
Especially that bike.
no, don't do it. They're tough, and you could just, get a new YZ450 that's really nice.
Yep.
So because the money he could sell that bike for $2 or $3 grand. And then the money he would put into it to make it nice, he could just put that towards a brand new one.
It would be about the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Because the problem is to rebuild a bike nice like that is going to be anywhere from $5 to $7 grand.
Yep.
To do it real nice, and which is not practical, right?
Yep.
All right. What's next?
Another one from AG Squires. Hey Jay, are the I think he's meaning oiled here, pre-oiled air filters good for the first run, or do they need to be oiled more once you get them?
So yes and no. So first of all, depends who you're getting it from. The ones that come from MX Filter Service we get are pretty good.
Yeah.
But if they sit around for a few months and it's hot out especially, I would probably add some oil to them.
Yep.
You don't want to suck dirt through them. So it also depends on the conditions you're riding in. If they're really dusty, silty conditions, I would add oil to them and go that way to be safe. You don't want to damage your engine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Jose says, hi Jay, I ride a lot of slow technical trails and wonder if it's better to ride at lower RPMs or shift down the gear and keep the RPMs higher to keep the motor cooler. I know faster speeds help get the air in the radiator, but when I can't go faster, which is better? I'm assuming the water pump is moving coolant faster at higher RPMs, but lower RPMs might not generate as much heat, question mark. Let me know what you think.
So he's stressing about stuff
That
no need to stress about. Like, there are dirt bikes, they're made to just be ridden, and there's nothing you can do in your riding style per se to help it be better. Especially if you're riding tight single track, you just got to ride, and you can't be stressed about, oh, I don't want to put too much heat to it. The radiator and all that stuff is all really good on most of these bikes. We do add a fan to some of the bikes. So if you have a fan optional for your bike, or it comes with one, that will help cool that down. But as far as trying to lug it, and you don't want to risk falling because you're trying to, keep your bike cooler.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't do that. Just ride the best you can. Don't stress about the overheating, and you'll be fine.
Yep. Andrew W says, hey Jay, first time emailer, long time listener. I have a 1984 XL 600R that I'd like to get my rims done black. Would you recommend them anodized black or powder coated black? I see so many arguments online. I just don't know what to do. What would you suggest? What are the new bike wheels coming with? Thanks for your help, and if you got the time. Okay,
so a couple things. First of all, he's got an older bike. My guess is, first of all, to anodize your stock rims is somewhat counterproductive. We've done it on some KX rims because they were the only style, and it was expensive to do. We had to get them polished, and it didn't come out perfect. There were some blemishes. So unfortunately, I don't think you should anodize your stock ones because of the cost and so forth. And then secondly, he said powder coating. The problem with powder coating is it'll chip off. It also fills the spoke holes, so they're not going to want to go through nicely when you get the wheel assembled. So I don't recommend powder coating. What I recommend is just buying new rims and spokes. A company like Faster USA would have all that. Now, yes, that is more money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually less money because you're not paying to polish and anodize. Or with the powder coating, you're going to be disappointed later when it's all chipped away.
Yep.
All right. So we're done right there?
Yep.
All right. So we're done for a little bit. Let's move into what's our next step segment. We want to do a product.
We can show some products.
Okay. So our first one is, we showed something from these guys last time on Amazon. We're on our Amazon links. AstroAI. Is that how you'd say it?
Yeah.
Okay. They have this jumper. We've shown the Tusk one for the bikes. This one's actually for cars. I don't think it's going to start my 7.3, but it'll start. I think from what we tried it on, it starts a decent sized car.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool little thing to have. And then the other product I want to talk about. Let's talk about bike. So we showed this a while back. This is our low-C bike. What do they call? I forget what they even call these. But anyway, and these are available on our Rocky Mountain links, and they're there. Really cool bike.
Pro Moto MX.
Yeah. For RC car. Low-C is mainly known for RC cars and trucks, and they made a bike and there's like 2 or 3, 4 versions of them. And I was waiting for Spencer to get into town before we test these things out.
Yep.
How'd that go?
Hey, hold on. Look. I'll zoom in on this.
So we'll have some footage. We're going to add some footage of the learning. The first thing we learned is that we realistically should have started on dirt, okay, to learn, like a big dirt field, which we have at our house, okay? We could have done it there.
Yeah.
And we also learned that this thing can take quite a beating. Like, we have some footage of it ramming straight into a rock.
Yeah.
Or two. So it's really durable. So I'll testify to that it is really durable. It's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be really tough for us to get good enough because we're not, I don't know that it's for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, they do have limiters. You can turn it down to be really slow.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
you need that on.
Yes. Also, it's heavy. Like, it's big. Like, obviously, it's not like a little kid's toy, and they're really like
it's pretty expensive.
It's pretty expensive. So it's an investment if you want to get into it, but it is pretty cool.
Now, one thing I did learn is that we can get some new. Since you already ruined that front fender.
This front fender's already toasted.
Yeah, they have front fender. They have different color hubs and sprockets. Even look at this,
dude.
Yeah.
They have replacement brake discs. So it does have brakes. Interesting enough, it has a front brake that actually functions. It's pretty cool.
And they have different gear. So this guy's going to need some new gear.
He's going to need new gear.
Peyton's not doing so well.
Yeah, no.
So we need some new gear. And also, this company right here that does this Pro Moto MX, they do the aftermarket pieces. They have an MX-14 tire, Dunlop MX-14 for the rear. I think we're we'd have to be in some deeper dirt,
some deeper sand,
because right on the asphalt and grass, it was all we can do to.
If we do get that, I'll take it out to the dunes sometime. There's dunes in Utah. That'd be actually kind of funny to see if it works.
You'd be in some small dunes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so that's our our cool product of the day. It's pretty fun. Would I rather be riding a dirt bike than playing with a remote control one? Yes. So that answers that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still fun for when you can't ride. Maybe when you're laid up, hurt, or whatever.
And if you're in, or somewhere where it snows and it's lame.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. You can make snow jumps.
You could make snow jumps. I think it would run fine in the snow, I imagine.
All right, you'll have to do that this winter.
Yeah.
Make some snow jumps.
I would do it. Yeah.
All right, make some snow jumps in the front.
You want to read this question right here?
All right, what do we got?
From Jesse L.
Jesse L. Good morning, Jay. I hope this email finds you well. I have an 05 CR450 that needs the valve shimmed. As I tore into the valves, I found that this is the last time I'll be able to shim it. So he's maxed out on his shim stacks. And just, Vintco has those shim kits.
Yeah.
So does ProX. So two of the companies I work with have those shim kits if you need them. And before I need to do valves and seats, while I was at the head, I noticed the cam chain was tight, stiff between links. In your opinion, what's the best cam chain on this bike? Is how does reliability go? I see a large span in prices between brands. He's talking about the cam chains.
Yep.
I should look at it while I'm inside the engine is this far. So first thing is, if you're on a CR450 that's 20 years old,
20 years old,
20 years old, you're on borrowed time. And if you've maxed out the valve adjustment, the crank is gonna go. And when the crank goes, if the rod breaks, it'll wipe out the cases, cylinder, and potentially head. And then it's completely garbage, and you just have to part out the bike. You won't be able to you'll be able to sell the forks and shock off, and the wheels. So in this case, if you have one that's this older and hasn't been rebuilt in a long time, don't just wait and guess. ProX and Wiseco both have good parts to rebuild that thing. We have links in our things for discounts there. But you need to rebuild that bottom end, either with a new crank or rebuilt crank with a rod kit. We do that a lot with Andrew Langston will help us rebuild the cranks. We use a ProX rod kit. Rebuild that lower end with new bearings and new cam chain, as he said. And we use either the ProX valves or the stock valves.
Yep.
And springs on there. Okay.
Morgan McAdam. Greetings, Jay. This is a long question.
Okay.
Greetings, Jay. A couple things to start off this message. First, I fit that category of riding dirt bikes in my youth, moving on to street bikes in my 20s. He's a city boy. Then riding nothing to do the deed, raise a family, chase a career, etc. I'm 53, got back into dirt bike riding 4 years ago. Watched all of your moto shows and a whole bunch of your tip videos. I appreciate your content. I like to tinker, fix, and improve stuff of my own. I try to make sure to use your Rocky Mountain link whenever I buy goodies. Make sure to use that link in the description. Yeah, that's awesome. Here's the tech question. I might be a little bit too deep, or it might be a good one. Riding this weekend, I submerged my 2022 KTM 150 XCW TPI. Flopped over in a 3-foot mud puddle or water puddle on the right side, leaving the airbox facing straight up while it was running. Upon removing the airbox cover and the air filter, it was clear that a good deal of dirty water had made its way into the throttle body. I did try to start it, which was probably foolish, but we were pretty deep in the woods on some grueling trails. All the electric seemed to work fine and turned over fine. Of course, it wouldn't start though. How seriously do I need to pull this thing apart to make sure that there's not dirt sucked into the motor?
So he did end up getting this thing started, by the way. But the first thing you do is, I would never pull a bike out without trying everything to get it started immediately. Yeah. The dirty water part is, most water is dirty. Chances of you getting a lot of dirt in there is pretty rare. It's mainly water. So you want to get that out. So the couple things, and we've shot some videos on this when it's happened to us or some friends.
Yep.
First thing is you stand the bike up. That's the first thing, get it to come out the exhaust and pull the air filter off the bike, okay?
Yep.
Then it can all come out, and turn the motor over, whether it's Kickstarter or electric, turn the motor over so it starts to push it out. If it's really bad, then you want to pull the spark plug off and do even more. You can flip the bike upside down and get it to come out that way. So put all that back and try to get that thing started. We've gotten them started by holding two bikes side by side.
The wheels.
Wheels touching, back to back. We did it and it worked because we didn't have anywhere to bump start the bike. Yep. We couldn't bump start it where we were. So that was pretty, that was a fun time. That was with a 4-stroke, a 350. So we had to really get a bunch of...
And the bike was a 300 that we were doing it with. Okay, so 2-stroke saving the 4-stroke as usual.
And there was only 3 of us, right? So we didn't have a ton of us to hold the bikes.
No,
we got it
was kind of rough, but yeah.
I wish we had a good photo of that day.
We were in survival mode that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My phone died.
Yeah. Well, your phone
was in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, obviously do all those things.
So good dude. I made him promise not to quit riding again.
Yeah, yeah. Don't do that.
I'm going to help him, and he's got to promise no more breaks.
Yep.
53. You only got so many days left of riding. Is the way I look at it.
This case, it kind of goes on, but we don't have to, we kind of answered it. Any other general suggestions on proactive redemption for a totally swamped bike? I'm starting to dig into this thing. Some guidance on where to focus my energy.
Yeah, so basically, as long as you get it started, just ride it. It's a two-stroke. They're pretty durable. They can take a lot. So as long as you get it started, you're fine. Now, if you have one that gets in there and sits for any period of time, then yeah, you're gonna need to pull the cylinder off, get all the water out of there, and probably have to do main bearings, potentially a crank, all that. That's why you want to get that thing started straight away, get that water out of there.
Jaden T says, I'm just wondering if you have a spreadsheet where I could see what year parts fit what year bike for a KX85. I'm needing a new KX85 exhaust pipe. I'm not sure which year pipes would fit my bike. It's a 2012 KX85 big wheel. Thank you.
Okay, so a couple things. First of all the pipe companies like FMF, and they want to make life easy. So they want to make as few pipes as possible. So if you go click to their site, it'll tell you the years that the pipe fits.
Yep.
They're not going to lie to you. If it says 2010 to 14, that's all it fits. Okay, they're not going to lie to you. Now, another little trick is OEM-Cycle is a cool site that has a spreadsheet of what this guy's talking about. My buddy Michael Fisher's one that turned me onto that, and they will tell you parts that enter. What do you call that? Intercede that work. Yeah, exchange. So they'll tell you which parts will work that way. So it's pretty cool. Interchange. So they talk about the parts of interchange that aren't necessarily listed, and they do a great job, especially on the OEM parts. You can find out, oh, if my hub's off of this year, will it fit this year? You can find it all out on that website, OEM-Cycle.
Nice.
You can show it here in this.
I'll put it on the screen. Screenshot.
OEM-Cycle, and then if you go to their Finder, so that's a really good one. And also, you can look up on there. You can look up your VIN number for your engine or frame. It'll tell you all the details about the bike.
Yep.
Okay.
Sweet. Craig N says, hi there. I was wondering if you might be able to help me. I have a 2018 KTM 300 XCW. It's virtually brand new with 11 hours on it. I changed the oil and put what was recommended in the bike, 800 cc's, and it seems like there's not enough oil, even though some comes out the oil bolt spot. But it won't go into neutral while the bike is running. Was perfectly fine before I changed the oil. I've seen that most people are just putting more oil in the bike, but I'm wondering, would it be better if I just kept on adding it to tell if it works again, or could I have a bigger problem?
Okay, two things. First of all, I don't like that people use the check bolt, he's calling it.
Yes.
On the KTMs, there's a bolt you can undo and it'll come out, and some of the older Hondas do. Those bolts always strip out. Don't take it out. Just put in the right amount of oil and stop stressing it. You drain the oil, put in in this case, I'd probably put in 820. We put in 850 or more because we have a larger cover.
Yep.
He didn't have a larger cover in this case. If you have a larger cover, we have the Recluse cover, which is larger, so we can put in more. So if you have an aftermarket cover, you can do that. The next thing is the bike going into neutral has nothing to do with the amount of gear oil.
No.
Okay, so, and on this bike, it's a carbureted bike, but it's a hydraulic clutch.
Yep.
Chances are the bigger problem is his hydraulic clutch needs to be bled and flushed out with new fluid. The next problem is it's really difficult to put them in neutral.
The most bikes will not go in neutral running, especially if they're more than,
And especially hydraulic clutch bikes.
Yes.
With the cable clutch bikes, we get a little bit better, but with hydraulic clutch bikes, it's just really, really difficult. I think because they just don't have enough pull on the entire clutch engagement to allow it to go, to hold it enough.
Did you ask him if he had warmed up the bike sufficiently before he tried to do this?
And that's another problem.
If the bike's not warmed up, it won't do it.
But on our trail rides, I can usually, like when the bike's plenty warm, been riding for a half hour or hours, I can usually get into
and you have
neutral.
You do have to rev it up. You have to get a bike into neutral. You have to rev it up, and then on the decel, get it into neutral. Like there's techniques.
Your half lift up, you can get it. But you want fresh fluid in that clutch master. That's probably your biggest problem right there.
Even if it has low hours, the fluid's still old.
Okay.
Andy says, do you still have and ride the carbureted Husky you repurchased in 2017, that yellow one?
I sold it to a guy I shouldn't have sold it to. He's a nice guy. I'm kind of disappointed about it because now I shouldn't have sold it, because now I'm having all these regrets about selling it. But he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
That's Cohen. He's got the bike. So, but I did make me a promise. It was a unique promise when I sold that bike, is he's not allowed to sell it to anyone other than me.
Yeah.
And his kid was with him. I told it, so his kid understood not to even pass on to you.
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
We'll see.
This guy has a 2018 KTM 250 XC that's in good shape with about 360 hours.
Ooh.
That's a lot, right? Bike is all set up for him. He's 6'4", 210, and he's got Creft suspension with adjusted ergonomics. And I'm one bike kind of guy. I'm considering switching to a 300. If I go back and forth between keeping what I have and then putting a 300 kit on it, is it like better to buy a 300 or to put a 300 kit on his 250, or possibly find a leftover 2024 Husky TE 300 Pro?
That's what I would rather find is the new
TBI.
Yeah, but I did tell him, unfortunately, that TE and XCW, the 24, it's a lot slower bike
Than his
XC that he's used to, but really good for the trails.
Yes.
So it's a great bike. And as far as adding the big bore kit, those things are like $1,200 for the whole kit.
Yeah.
And I just don't know I'd want to spend that much money on an older 8-year-old bike.
That's got 360 hours on the crank.
He said he would probably do a crank at the same time.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know that I would want to do that. He could sell his stock cylinder and head. So it's a toss up, but I would prefer to have the newer bike. If it's in the cards, is get the newer bike and sell off the other stuff and not worry about that. And the difference in the 250 and 300 isn't drastic, but I don't see any downsides to having the 300. We even put beginners on the 300 and it's plenty good.
Yes.
All right.
Cole K says, "Hey Jay, I've been following and watching your YouTube and wanted to ask your opinion on something. I currently have a 2019 FX 350. I live in Utah and I've been primarily doing single track trails. I've been considering switching to a 2-stroke just because of a lot of friends have made the switch and they tell me how much more they enjoy the bike compared to the 4-stroke and technical stuff. I do feel like my bike is consistently getting super hot anytime I do technical stuff just because I'm going slower and doesn't allow the bike to cool down. My question is, do you think it's worth it switching to his 2-stroke? I'm looking for Husqvarna or KTM 300 or 250 TE and XCW. Any advice on direction would be greatly appreciated. Thank you."
What bike was he riding?
So an FX, so a XCF 350, essentially.
He has a 350. What does he
It's
say?
an FX 350, so it's an
FX.
So it's an XCF 350 in a KTM model.
Okay, so he's talking about two of our favorite bikes.
Yeah.
A 350 XCF or FX 350, which is great. That bike I have found is amazing for the desert trails, for the even the motocross. It's awesome on the motocross track. It's plenty good on the motocross track for 90% of the people, right?
Yep.
So that's our favorite bike, all around bike. If we only had one bike to choose, it'd be that 350 or the bike, the bike he's on. The downside for him is if you're not as skilled or shorter like me, you can stall it more. You could mapping helps a ton.
Yep.
With an ECU from Jamie at Twisted, you can either do the stock ECU or get a Vortex, which are on sale right now. He's doing a sale on those.
$100 off.
Yeah, so you get a sale on those, which kind of covers your mapping to get his mapping on there, which is really good. So I would recommend that one. Now, if you're riding just mountain stuff, if he's riding just mountain stuff and then occasional in the winter, he's in Utah. So in the winter, he's doing occasional, desert stuff like Green River or St. George area. Then the 300 would be the bike I would probably choose if he's mainly doing that.
Mountains.
He's not really doing desert and track stuff. Yeah. I would probably recommend the 300, and I would probably go with the 300. If he's looking at the older ones, I would say 17 to 19 carbureted one, or you jump up to the 24 TBI, and it needs to be the TE or the XCW because the other ones, the XC version, is pretty gnarly fast for most guys. It's more like an SX. Okay, I got some cool things for us to read.
Oh, okay.
We did last week. I did those comments.
Yes.
Here we go. Let's start on there, and then you're just gonna fling them this way. Here's our folder. Okay. These are comments from our YouTube videos, which we don't reply to really, by the way. But I do take cool screenshots when they're kind of cool or funny, and make fun of me or tell me how cool we are.
It's a new comment on static wheel balancing made easy. His tag is at Bropology, and it's Bropology.
Bropology.
So super super thorough and to the point. Thank you so much. That's a good video. That video is only like 3 minutes long. So
that's a helpful video. If
get
you
it done.
need it. We have tons of old videos on there you can sort through that'll help you find it. What do you got next one?
SM Tony says, "Bro, nobody will drill a hole in his brand new bike, Lamau."
Yeah, what does that mean?
Laughing my A off.
Oh, okay. I have to learn these terms. So no one's going to drill a hole in their fender that costs like $30, right?
And you can't see the hole.
No. But anyway, it's funny. We do these videos, and we have a few that have kind of gone viral on the YouTube.
Yep.
Okay. And they freak out that we drill a little hole. Now, and what's funny is the kit from that Slacker that we use, that slacker tool, it has a clamp in there, or you can get those little stick-on clamps that come in the
little
kit.
sticky thing.
So you don't really even have to drill the hole.
No.
But for us, the hole is easier, and it does freak people out. So that's part of the, I guess, the allure to it, right?
Yep.
All right, what's next?
This one's from Paul, and he commented on Chavez's Moto Show.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Dirt bikes and classic rock, one-stop shopping. Great episode and always interesting to hear about life in the motorcycle industry.
Thanks, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We appreciate that you like it.
Dwayne commented on us doing some handlebars on the dirt bike, and he says, more docking, exclamation point.
More docking. Like, how do you go wrong? Right?
I know. It's
You're rocking with docking.
rocking with docking. Last Life says, docking, yeah.
2 in a row, docking. There we go.
This is on the video, what bike should you buy? And this guy says, I was forced to watch a Kamala Harris commercial.
I'm really sorry about that.
We don't pick the commercials.
The commercials, and I feel for you that you had to endure that to watch the video on the bike. But for whatever it's worth, that is one of the biggest questions we get. A lot of guys out west here, we're kind of spoiled with a lot of good bikes to be able to buy and sort through. But there's a lot of guys throughout the country. They live in more areas that don't have a ton of bikes for sale. They have to drive. I get guys that are driving 5, 8, 10 hours to go pick up a bike. So they really want to. And so I feel a lot of guys that are sending me, if you send me questions on a bike, the best thing to do is send me the link to the ad. Like if it's on Facebook or Craigslist, send me the link to the ad. I'll give you some tips on it. Another big key is make sure you get the person on the phone that you can talk to them. If they don't want to talk to you on the phone, you're not driving there to go get it. Like, don't even consider it. Get them on the phone. Your first thing when you're buying a used bike, you're trusting that person. So you want to get on there, ask some questions, you get a feel for how you feel about them. If you don't feel good, move on. You don't be driving an hour or 5 hours away if you don't feel good about it. That's the worst thing that happens. So feel free to email me the questions on those used bikes. We get a lot of guys asking. When you do ask a question, tell me what type of riding you're going to do, because that's a big factor. So I get guys write me, and they're just like, is this bike good? And I was like, well, depends on where you're riding, because this bike's great for what it's intended for. I wouldn't take this bike up,
off-roading on any sort of
gnarly single track. Right. Yeah, we're not going to take this to the motocross track, right? So you need to, give me some info on what you're doing, your skill set, your size, what type of riding, where you're going to be riding, those types of things.
Yep.
All right, next one.
So this one's from the same guy who commented last time. But this time it's on the video, how to wash your dirt bike correctly.
Okay.
Says, the Honda owner's manual says not to use a power washer. I hear what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
I agree in blocking off the air intake exhaust. I think it's great to stress the importance of not spraying the steering stem profusely.
So he brings up a good point, and it is tough on bikes to get power wash. We won't even wash bikes without having air, compressed air. So we like to blow the bikes off, and that's one of the biggest things we're doing is lubing up the bike in all the areas that can rust, and also blowing out the water from the steering stem, from the swing arm bearings, from the linkage bearings, over at the wheels. We're blowing that air off, foot peg springs. We're blowing that water off from all those spots as we go. So it's not just a simple, just washing, think of it like washing your car. It's not like that. So just think of that. That's part of it.
Yep.
Okay.
Classified says, I almost have more fun maintaining my bike than actually riding it. Nothing like a clean and greased up machine.
I think that is really cool. I think there's a lot of guys who feel that way. There's a lot of guys who don't. I had a funny comment this week. I don't know if it'll come up in there. I don't know if it was on there or somewhere. Okay, I'll just bring him up by name.
Yeah.
Remember Lucas Maldonado? Okay. This guy up in Oregon ran into him. He goes, hey, this guy says he knows you and everything. He goes, nice guy, everything. But he doesn't wash his bike. He has a brand new bike. So clean your bike, Lucas. Take care of your stuff. So he says he's busy, but it was so funny. This guy, he ran into this guy, and that's the first thing he noticed. And honestly, Lucas can have some bad luck with bikes, and sometimes that bad luck is self-imposed luck when you don't take it. Because when you're washing your bike, you're not just washing it. You're looking over, you're finding things that are wrong. Then you're changing your oil. You're doing those types of things, a filter. You're typically not doing that maintenance items with a dirty bike.
Yep.
So that's one thing I've learned is you're not taking care of your bike well. So I appreciate our guy that's likes it.
This guy commented,
What's his
says,
name?
it's user-RK. Yeah, like it's not really a username. That's why I said this guy.
All right.
Anytime I use map gas anymore, I always think of Jay.
That's so nice. So map gas is, so when we use the torch, there was the older green bottles. The map gas I learned is way hotter. That's what the guys like in the plumbing industry use and so forth. It gets way hotter. It also lasts really a long time for what we do. Just using it randomly in the shop, a bottle will last us 5 or 6 months. It seems like it lasts a long time.
Yep.
All right.
This guy, I'm not going to mention my name because he's mean. He says, y'all are some of the worst mechanics on YouTube.
Yep. So we do get some of that. People ask how I got family and friends who ask. I don't even care. I got a new one. I'll save it for next show. He used a weird term for. It's like he's like foreign, bodger or something. I can't remember what it is. So he's from Australia or something. Yeah. That was pretty bad. One of the biggest negative comments we get is the drilling the airbox out on the Yamaha.
Yeah, they didn't like that one.
So the airbox piece just is about $30.
Yeah, it is $30.
We were testing out different how much airflow they want. And so, it doesn't have to look pretty. And also the Club MX team, with top raters, theirs looks pretty much the same as that.
It looks, because they do the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
all right, the bikes want a bunch of air. What's our next one?
Final comment says, "Hi Jay, my son and I have the Pack Talk Bold. Do you think this is as much of an improvement over the system to warrant an upgrade
to the Pack Talk Edge? I probably would, but I don't know. You got to go to the Pro. The Edge would be fine. We have our discount works on the Edge.
Yep.
Not on the Pro.
Not on the Pro.
So the Edge, I would say yes, but if it's working fine and you guys aren't losing connectivity much, then I would probably stick with it until you have a problem.
Yep.
But if you are having some connectivity issues, it's not working as well as you'd like, then I would bump up. And we really love the Cardo Systems Pack Talk Edge.
Yep.
We should throw a photo of that in here right now. We have a full video that came out a couple weeks ago with us using that thing. Spencer can show a little clip of the video. It's really cool with some great footage up in the mountains in the summer riding with us talking and using that. And so it's a great video. And we also have some tips in that video, which we should put that video link in our Google Drive and then put the minutes for the setup info. I thought about that. So we have, and within that video, we have a little section that we talk about how to set it up, how to pair them up, and how to,
Well, we shouldn't tell them so they watch the whole video.
Okay. Well, we're so nice. We'll tell them where it's at, like at the 5-minute mark, whatever it is. So anyway, so we can get you right to setting up your Cardo. So,
let's do some products.
Product tool is Boxo Tools. Been using for a while. We have a great discount code on our site. One of the things I like is these rolls, and I know I have some rolls. People are already going to bring that up, right? So these rolls are like this, and what's cool about it, you have areas like this, you can add in your own stuff, which we added some of our own stuff into this section. But what's nice about this is, so we can keep one in the back of the truck. We go on a trip, we can keep one in the truck or the trunk, whatever you're driving.
Yep.
You can have it in there. If you're in a UTV, if you're one of those types of people, you could have it in there. And there's smaller versions like this. So these rolls are really nice to have, and you're not beating around this big old toolbox. So yeah, and then they're really strong Velcro too. So, and we've added some tools to it as well. Once, because there's plenty of room to add some stuff to it, which we did here. We discovered we needed some more Phillips screwdrivers, right?
Yes, we do.
That was a fail.
It's like one of the most simple things that apparently we just don't have that many of. So
right. All right, so CD time. 1982. Oh, there's a squirrel. I'm losing focus. Night Ranger, one of my favorite bands from the 80s. Great group. Really good clean rock. Just kind of like not as hard as a lot of the other stuff.
No.
But some really cool stuff.
You know that when they recorded this, you know what their name was?
What was it?
Ranger.
So
they recorded this album as Ranger, but then they found out that there was a popular band in California that had the same name. And so they had to release this album as Night Ranger instead.
And the last song is called
Night Ranger. So they had a bunch of this album. They had a bunch of versions
with
Ranger printed on, and then they had to destroy every copy. So maybe it's a rare collector's item if there's some out there that made the.
I like these fun facts you're finding out.
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
These guys are still going nowadays. They got close to us. I didn't get to go see them. We'll try the next time, and hopefully it's before they, get too old. So that's part of the problem with these bands.
Yep.
But this is the first album, and they have some other ones, and they're kind of known for Sister Christian, the big love ballads. They have a couple of those. But this one, Don't Tell Me You Love Me, Sing Me Away, At Night She Sleeps, Call My Name, Eddie's going out tonight. Eddie's coming out tonight, right?
That coming out tonight.
Can't Find Me a Thrill, Young Girl in Love, Play Rough, Penny, Night Ranger. 10 songs. That's all you needed, right?
It's 42 minutes or something?
It was 5 on each side of the tape. So you flip it over.
Easy.
Boom.
Perfect.
Yeah. Those were the good days. Spencer and I got to live them. But he does go back and listen to these. So this is one of his favorites.
Yes.
As Dawn Patrol, right?
Dawn Patrol. I like Dawn Patrol a lot.
Okay. So Dawn Patrol, what else are we going to wrap up with? Donnie usually has a final question. Is there anything here?
We could just save this page for next show. We're already at kind of a long. How long are we at? How about we do SMX predictions?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Let's do SMX predictions.
Okay.
So in 250s, I think it's a no-brainer to say that it's Deegan show all the way, unless there's something that happens in the first 2 rounds, because of how the points work.
Right.
Really, the third round's really the only one that matters. So unless he DNFs one of the rounds.
Yeah. But that goes for anybody.
But
I'm going to go with Deegan.
I would say
on
Deegan.
The 250, I'll go with Deegan.
VL has a good chance.
I think Hampshire's got a good chance.
Hampshire's got a good chance
for these 2 races, and he got up to speed relatively quick. Now he's got a week off to get ready. I heard he's only practicing Supercross at these last few weeks when he got back riding after his wrist injury.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. So I wouldn't bet against him either. And I don't think Joe Shimoda is going to be back.
No,
he's down.
So his collarbone.
Kitchen should be there. So he should be there, and I think he'll be a contender. But I think Deegan is this guy that just wants it. Yeah. So I see him being there. Now, 450. Jet. So we're hearing Jet all over the place with the Jet fan club, and it's hard to bet against that because I don't think these are going to be as tough a races as outdoor. If he came back to outdoor and he had to put in those 35 hard minutes of rough track, when he's hurt, these are more, they call them hybrid tracks, but they definitely are more Supercross.
Yeah.
So sure. I would have to say Jet. I would like Chase to win.
And then also you have to keep in mind that this
I'd like Chase to win.
Maybe a mental block for Chase was winning this championship, right? And he won. Proved it, hey, I can win. And now he's got maybe a little bit better mindset when he goes into these SMX races.
Well, he's definitely got to have some confidence.
Yes.
He's riding really well. He can't afford to lose the front end and fall like he's gotten away with in some of these outdoor races. So he can't do that, can't be going down. And in that third race, the key is the first 2 races, you only have to get second, third, fourth.
Yep.
You win the last one. That's all that matters. It's like triple points. So this is a unique little series we're coming up into. So I'm looking forward to it. But we do have a week off, which is unfortunate with no racing. And it's a holiday weekend, no racing on Saturday.
Yeah.
Kind of lame.
Yeah.
We're going to go riding, though.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll go riding. So I suggest that you guys get out and ride as well. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Send us any of your questions via email is always really the only way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else, Dad?
No, I don't think so.
Fun show.
Yep.
Spencer's going to edit this up. Thank you. We work with some great companies, and here's a list of those right now. Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, Wiseco Piston, Vinco Air Shocks and Dirt Bike Parts, FMF Exhaust, Decal Works Graphics, Pro X Racing Parts, Recluse Clutch Revolution, Motion Pro Specialty Motorcycle Tools, Works Connection, Uni Filter, Klotz Oil, Cometic Gasket, MX Plastics, JE Pistons, Cardo Systems, ODI Bars and Grips. And remember, if you shop Rocky Mountain, use our link from our site, Linktree, or link in description of the videos. Thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.